Hi there, and welcome back to the listening window. I'm so glad you're here with me today. My name is Emma, and today I'll be sharing a story called The Last Ticket Home. This story is designed to help you practice English listening and speaking in a natural, relaxing way. You'll hear lots of common phrases, everyday expressions, and natural English. If you'd like to get the full script, vocabulary list, quiz, answer key, and a bonus speaking prompt, you can find the link in the description below. Now, make yourself comfortable and let's begin. I never thought a single piece of paper could change the course of my life, but that's exactly what happened the day I found the old train ticket. I was cleaning out my father's desk after he moved into the nursing home. He had always been such a private man, keeping his memories tucked away like secrets, hidden in dusty drawers and photo albums that no one dared to open. Growing up, I never asked too many questions, and he never offered many answers. Our home was filled with a kind of quiet sadness, a gentle emptiness that I didn't fully understand until much later. The desk was packed with junk, old receipts, faded photographs, tangled cords, broken pens. As I dug deeper, I found a small metal tin, rusted around the edges. It was hidden at the very back of the drawer, almost like it didn't want to be found. Inside was a single train ticket, perfectly preserved despite the years. The ticket was dated July 14th, 1982, and it was for a destination I had never heard of before, Maple Hollow. There was something about that ticket. I turned it over and written faintly on the back, in my father's neat handwriting, were the words, "The day everything changed." I stared at the words for a long time. My chest tightened and 100 questions raced through my mind. What had happened on that day? Why was this one ticket kept so carefully when everything else in his life seemed to have been forgotten? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the ticket. It felt like a key to a door that had always been locked between my father and me. Early the next morning, I made a decision. I threw a few things into a backpack, grabbed the ticket, and drove out without telling anyone where I was going. Part of me was afraid that if I said it out loud, it would lose its magic. The drive to Maple Hollow took longer than I thought. Endless stretches of empty road, small towns with peeling paint and silent streets. Finally, just as the sun began to dip low in the sky, I saw the faded sign, "Welcome to Maple Hollow." The town was tiny, like a place that time had simply forgotten. An old general store, a gas station, a few houses, and, of course, the small train station. I pulled into the gravel lot and stepped out of the car. The air smelled of dust and wildflowers. The station looked abandoned, but not completely broken. The wood was old and splintered, the paint peeling, but it stood strong against the evening wind. I walked toward it, feeling like I was stepping into a memory that wasn't mine. Inside the station, behind the worn wooden counter, sat an elderly man. He wore a cap low over his forehead, and he was reading a battered paperback novel. When he looked up and saw me, he smiled, a slow, knowing smile that made me feel both welcome and exposed at the same time. "You're not from around here," he said. his voice rich and crackling like a worn-out radio. I smiled nervously and pulled the ticket from my pocket. "I found this," I said. "It belonged to my father. I think he came here once. A long time ago." The old man's eyes softened. He reached out and took the ticket from me, handling it as if it were something sacred. After a long moment, he nodded. "You're Michael's girl," he said quietly. My heart skipped a beat. "You knew him." "Everyone knew Michael," he said. "He was a good man, but a broken one." I leaned forward, feeling a pull inside me that I couldn't resist. "What happened?" The old man looked out the dusty window, lost in thought. "Back in '82, your father was supposed to meet someone here. A woman named Lila. They were going to start a new life together. She was everything to him. They planned to run away, get married, live out their dreams. But on the day they were supposed to meet, there was an accident. Lila never made it." I felt my throat tighten painfully. "An accident?" He nodded sadly. "A car crash just outside of town. She never made it to the station. Your father waited for hours, standing right there on that platform. When the last train came and went, and she still hadn't arrived, he knew." I could picture it so clearly it hurt. A young man standing on an empty platform, clutching a ticket and a dream that would never come true. "He stayed in town for a while after that," the old man said. "Long enough for us all to see the light go out in his eyes. Then one day, he just disappeared." I wiped away tears before they could fall. I understood now the sadness, the silence, the things my father had carried inside him all those years. The old man stood up and disappeared into a back room. When he returned, he held a small, worn box. "He left this," he said, placing it gently in my hands. "Said that if someone ever came asking, it was for them." I opened the box right there. Inside was a photograph of my father and a young woman, smiling so brightly it hurt to look at them. Tucked beneath it was a note written in my father's hand: "Love is never wasted. It changes you. It becomes a part of you. Don't be afraid like I was. Find your own happiness." The sunset bathed the station in gold as I sat there, holding the pieces of a story I had never known but had always felt in some deep, hidden way. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a stranger to my own history. I felt connected to my father, to his love, to his pain, and to his hope for me. Driving away from Maple Hollow, I kept the photograph and the note on the passenger seat beside me, like companions for the road ahead. The old ticket stayed tucked safely in my pocket, not just as a reminder of my father's heartbreak, but as a promise to myself to love without fear, to live fully, and to never let life's trains pass me by. Thank you for listening to today's story here at the Listening Window. If you'd like to practice more, you can download the full script, vocabulary list, quiz, and a bonus writing prompt using the link in the description. I'd also love to hear how you would continue this story. Please share your own ending in the comments below. I'll see you next time.